All right, welcome back. So this is part 2 of chapter 10 on employee motivation. In part 1, we looked at various theories on employee motivation. Now I'd like to explore some specific techniques that hopefully result in more motivated employees. In a previous chapter, I believe, we looked at job enlargement. If you've got an employee doing a fairly repetitive task, just screwing in a particular bolt, etc., it can get kind of boring. So job enlargement is giving them something else to do in addition to just that task. So it's a little more diversified. The criticism of that approach is that if you've got a boring task, just adding a new boring task on top of it is not going to make the job inherently interesting. Job enrichment, where the employee has more say in how they do their work, might be a better approach. And then job design is a step beyond that, where they're actively matching the job to the worker. Behavior modification is a structured attempt to try to reinforce positive behavior. And flex time, as I said earlier, allows an employee to craft a schedule that fits their life. And this works really well, especially today, with employees juggling so many demands. They can, in a flex time environment, an employee can come in early and leave early in order to pick up the kids, or come in late in order to accommodate a morning class. Usually there's some sort of set band of time when everybody has to be there, like 12 to 2, but outside of that, they can flex their hours. And you can see some of the pros and cons of that. Part-time job, I think, is fairly straightforward. You're no doubt familiar with that. You may not be familiar with job sharing. I have seen this work well. At one of my sister's prior law firms, there was a married couple who actually job shared. It was quite fascinating. So they even shared a desk, and their goal was to always have somebody home with the kids, so they literally shared one job. It was really quite fascinating. And as I said, it worked really well for them. You're not likely to do job sharing. However, you are highly likely to be engaged at some point in telecommuting, which is where an employee works some days during the week from home. And as you can see, there are pretty obvious advantages and pretty obvious disadvantages as well. One of the disadvantages to the employee is they might find themselves feeling out of the loop. So if they're looking to move up the corporate ladder at some point, they need to make sure that they do at least get some FaceTime around the office. And I don't mean FaceTime. I don't mean like Apple FaceTime. I mean literally FaceTime, showing their face. Okay, so employee empowerment is really a theme throughout the chapter. And that's giving employees more say, more participation in crafting their career and their job. And I'll give you some pros and cons, which you can read. I alluded to an ESOP earlier, which is an employee stock ownership. And the advantages of that should be kind of obvious, because at that point, the employee is no longer just an employee, just a worker, but a part owner. And so it gives them really a sense of ownership and interest in the company that they may not otherwise have. Okay, in today's work environment, chances are you will be working on some form of a team, and these can take various forms.